One of the features I like about this particular tent is the rain fly on the top just kind of hooks in, so I can reach out the door, undo it, and pull it back if I want to view. Because normally I always use the fly out here just because of rain and dew. I don't know what it was, but last night, right around dark, something was running around. I could hear it running or hopping through the brush. It sounded like it was, rodent size or something. And about 4 times it actually came down and hit the tent to the point where it like poked me in the back when I was lying there watching the last episode of Foundation. I stuck my head out several times. I could never catch sight of whatever it was though. I was messaging Jen during it, and she was laughing because she remembers the first night on the Mississippi. We actually had something like poking the foot of our tent. We're like, what the heck is that? And we looked, and it was a turtle that was just like... Pretty sure this wasn't a turtle. Or if it was a fast-hopping turtle. I basically found a deer trail and was able to set up my tent on that. I just saw some people up on the trail, so I was probably visible if they happened to be looking that way or my lights were on, but pretty well isolated site. Okay, back on trail. I'm going to make a quick pit stop at the Privy and then see how many miles I can get on today. Camel Hump, which is the one that everybody seems to be talking about, is about 25 miles ahead as of right now. My pack is feeling noticeably lighter already. I think I have 37 miles until my next resupply. This actually isn't as bad as I expected. The pictures were of the group tenting area, whereas this is listed as individuals. I don't really go for the wooden platforms, but yeah. Yeah, this is what the far out picture had shown, which is listed as a group use area, technically. And it does look like there are a couple of solo sites spread around. This is listed as the lowest spot where you can tent on this climb. All the shelters up higher, they want you in the bunks. So it looks like most of today is going to be the climb up and over Bolton, which is back up at 3,600 or so. And then I have a long descent to a road, and then one other big set of mountains for my resupply. Because I've had internet, I have been keeping an eye on the weather. Looks like it is going to get down into the 30s at night this weekend. And then about 6 days out, there's currently a prediction of some rain. At least so far it's showing as light rain, and things can change a lot in that amount of time. I don't generally change anything due to weather. If I am debating a town stop, sometimes if it's, over 1/4 of an inch, sure, I'll consider it a little harder. And there has been once or twice when it's been like an inch or 2 of rain coming down. I can hike in that, but things get wet and that can last for days. My favorite is when it rains first thing in the morning, because then I have an excuse to sit around in the tent and drink more coffee. And then I just have to deal with a wet tent fly, and all my hiking layers are not going to be any more moist than usual. I'm kind of reluctant to say this because I feel like I'm going to jinx myself, and I'm fully expecting to be freezing my butt off by the end of this. But up top, where it was windy and cold, was actually pretty nice because my layers all dried out. And at that point, it's just layering to keep the warmth I'm generating in. I keep finding myself really looking forward to the Benton Mackay in a couple of weeks. Especially because most of the folks I talk to out here, people who are on the long trail, seem to have not heard of that particular one. A few people had done the AT and remembered seeing the signs near Springer. But I guess for whatever reason, it doesn't have as big of a mental footprint as some of these. I did ask someone about why the Long Trail seems to be more well known, and my guess was either how long ago it was built or else just kind of tailing on the Appalachian Trail, because of any of the trails, the AT is the best at marketing. They have those giant signs at seemingly every road crossing. Everybody knows about it in the area, versus the PCT, relatively well known. But I tell people about being in trail towns on the CDT, literally with a trail symbol on the sidewalk, talking to locals, and they're like, "Oh, what are you doing here?" "Oh no, I've never heard of a Continental Divide Trail. Where's that?" And I'm like pointing down directly at my foot. So I always find that funny, though I do kind of, at this point, have a preference for the lesser known trails in general. I find them more rewarding to share, because thousands of people are doing the John Muir Trail every year, but rarely do you see somebody on the Theodore Solomon or the Condor or something like that. At this point, I basically achieved the thing I'm out here for, which is, feels like I've been on trail forever, basically, and no end in sight, so I can just relax and enjoy myself, until the next crisis. It is spectacular back here, if rugged. Slow going. And there's Mansfield. Haven't found water in a while, so this might be my evening fill up. Tannin water. So the water's a little bit brown, but it'll work. I'm going to go ahead and do my evening fill up here. I've been out of water for a while. There is a shelter I could go to and get water, but it's 0.3 either way, and it says the water is kind of trickling. So I figure I'd rather get another half mile down the trail rather than do that. I have been getting way too spoiled on my water lately. Mostly been able to get, flowing clear sources lately. But okay, so I am on descent from Bolton. It is basically a long, mostly downhill to a road, which I should cross tomorrow. And then it's up and over the infamous Camel Hump. I'm gonna see if I can't make it a little past 10 miles today. I don't want to be close enough to the road where my ears are getting blasted out by traffic all night. But I would really like to start doing a couple extra miles a day. Hopefully things are going to get more like this going forward versus the kind of steep rock fields I've been hopping over this morning. There's yesterday's peak. Okay, this was my backup water source if I couldn't find anything else, but that's another half mile I could get down the trail, so I am full up for the night. There are water sources early-ish tomorrow. There's a road tomorrow, so just going to continue till around dark, and I'm not that worried about finding a place to camp since I'm this low down in the trees that usually have these clearings in them here and there. Well, I was going to aim for a peak up ahead, try and get 12 plus miles, but I'm beat. I'm slowing down. This is fun days, but tiring days, so I am basically starting to bushwhack around and look for a campsite that I like. Well, at least once all the leaves fall off, I'll probably start getting more sunsets at least. The challenge is things like this looked promising from above, and then I get down here and yeah, not so much. I could make it work, but I think I can do better. Okay, I can make this work. Far enough off the trail that I feel good about it. There really hasn't been many solo campsites right beside the trail. And I figure the only way that happens is Green Mountain Club must make an effort to rehab them. So I am making an extra effort to pick things further away. This will work. Looks like I'm probably not making it up and over the hump tomorrow. That's 13.4 away, but I can at least get close. Home sweet home.